Hmm. Well, folks, as the notifications come pouring in on the phone, it's official. The New York Jets have won a football game. They won a football game. The New York Jets in 2020 have won a football game. Let's share out the live stream a little bit as we let some people kind of jump in here because, wow. Huh. Boy. Not really sure how to feel here again because I had kind of like at the beginning of the year, I said to myself, you know, you know, uh, don't worry about the Trevor Lawrence stuff. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Don't worry yourself about that kind of stuff. Don't worry your little brain about it. Is what I told myself because Sam Darnold's your guy. He's your quarterback. He's the guy that you should be rooting for and be excited about and all that jazz. And then a certain point happened during the year where I just kind of sat there and said, you know what? I guess the losses are going to be fine. 1 second, we'll get into this in full detail. Let's link real quick. Feel free to drop questions and comments down below. Wow. I don't. I'm really speechless in a lot of ways. I really am not sure what to say. Wow. 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 That just happened. So there's a lot of different wrinkles we're going to get into with this game. Alrighty. So wow. Okay. So I think it's kind of ironic, whatever term that you want to use, because, like I said, the weird part about this, I see all the comments coming in. So thanks for joining us. I'm just sharing on social media here as all these are coming through. It's funny to me that the first win of the season, and maybe it's the only one, but the first one of the season for the Jets comes against a team that I thought the Jets had zero chance against. And it reminds me of a couple years ago. This is I claim to be an optimistic Jets fan, the self-proclaimed biggest Jets fan on the planet, and also an optimistic Jets fan. For me, every game before a season in a typical year, I can see the Jets winning any game if A happens, B happens, C happens. I'm like, oh, the Jets can win if all these things happen. A couple years ago, the Jets were either winless or 1 win, 2 win, whatever. They were horrible, and they played this Pittsburgh Steelers team that was red hot coming in. And for the first time ever in my fandom as a Jets fan, right, I said to myself, boy, I don't see any way they win this game. This is the first time I'm ever saying this as a fan. And the Jets won that game at home against Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. And I just said, what? I'm never going to root for this team again or question whether they can win a football game. And here we are in 2020. The Jets entered this game 0-13. Hadn't won a game all year. It had been close a time or two, but it hadn't happened all year long. And then we were going into this one. The Jets were 17.5-point underdogs in this game against the Rams. And I said, man, I've got zero worries. I did shows with Joe Branham, part of the Rams Showcase. I did a little bit everywhere and said, there's no chance the Jets win this game. And they found a way. And now, again, this is the first win. This show, Play Like a Jet Zone. Let's give a couple of shout outs here. Again, continue dropping the questions and comments. I'll get into those in a minute. This is Play Like a Jet Zone, a live pre and post game show. Our pre-game show today was on Facebook Live. So make sure you hit me up on all social. You'll never miss an episode, no matter what platform I'm on. We'll try to do most of the stuff here on YouTube. At Boy Greene 25, BOY Green the color 25. You'll never miss anything I do live. But this is the post-game show. We're live here. And I started this season before the year started. Said, you know what? It would be a really fun thing to engage with the fans and do a live show for pre- and post-game show every week. I thought it would be fun. And all year long, we have not talked about a win on this very show. And this is the first one ever where we have a win. I'm probably going to pinch myself and then wake up tomorrow and be like, wait a second. The Jets are 1-13. They won a football game. They will not go down in the annals of history of being a winless football team like the Detroit Lions or the Cleveland Browns in the 16-game schedule era. But it is the facts of the matter, and there's going to be a lot of different angles to get into here. I'll also share this on Facebook in a second because I'm beside myself. This was an opportunity for the Jets to, for a moment, while 0-16 sucks, there's no other way around it. 0-16 is terrible. But again, the light at the end of the rainbow that we continue to tell all ourselves, us being Jet fans about, was, hey, 0-16 may be a permanent stain that is always remembered, but at the end of the day, the long-term future of this franchise is what's most important. And of course, what I'm referencing is, and what a lot of these comments I see coming in, again, keep dropping your questions, comments. Also, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. I always appreciate the support. I think a big part of this is that, again, getting Trevor Lawrence at the end of the rainbow, i.e. getting the #1 pick, would put you in a great position that you could have long-term sustainable success for your franchise. And now I'm unsure of how to feel. And this is a tough place to be as a Jets fan because I want to win football games, right? The Jets haven't been to the playoffs since 2010. It's tough not winning football games. And now they've won one, and I am feeling bad about it. I'm feeling bad that they won a football game against a red-hot Rams team. I shouldn't be feeling this way. This should be a moment of euphoria. This should be a moment of celebration. The Jets just won a football game. They're not going to go winless. But I think I'm left here staring at myself in the mirror, or in this case on YouTube Live, and just saying, you know what? What does this all mean? Because the Jets will lose the strength of schedule tiebreaker. Now the Jets are 1-13, the Jaguars 1-13. If you missed it, the Jaguars were blown out by the Baltimore Ravens earlier today. They were blown out pillar to post by the Baltimore Ravens, which means the really only chance for the Jaguars to win a game in these final 2 games. I believe they got the Chicago Bears and the Indianapolis Colts. Unless the Colts have their situation locked up, they're playing their starters. And while the Jaguars did win week 1 against that same Colts team, it's really not the same Colts team anymore. So right now, it is, as we see in our first comment here in our YouTube, quote-unquote, #fail for Fields. Maybe that's the new motto, because the motto had been tank for Trevor. But now, the Trevor thing, at least at this point, is off the table. The Jets will need help to get the #1 overall pick. If they lose the final 2 remaining games, which is against the Cleveland Browns and the New England Patriots, it will not matter unless the Jaguars win a game. That is the fact of the matter. With a loss today, if the Jets would have lost to Rams, it would have clinched a top 2 pick in the 2021 NFL draft. Now, we're in a weird waiting period here where right now the Jets have the 2nd overall pick. On all those mock drafts that you see from the Draft Network and others that come out today and later tonight, the Jets will have the #2 pick. So let's talk about it a little bit. Again, feel free to drop in comments and questions and whatnot. All right, let's go to JS. He had the fail for Fields. Just win, baby. When does a win feel like a loss? Today, JS. Today, a win feels like a loss. The Jets had Trevor Lawrence. They had him right there. They had Trevor Lawrence, and poof, now the Jets have the #2 pick. So everyone's saying Justin Fields. Is it Justin Fields time? Or to me, and I'll do a longer video on this, and we'll dive into this in more detail, maybe it's Sam Darnold time. And this is the one thing I said on my podcast weekly, the Jet Zone, is that perhaps the best move for the Jets if they win a football game, which they have, and now they're 1-13, keep Sam Darnold and maybe trade the pick. I saw Justin Fields, and I know a lot of you did, over the weekend against Northwestern in the conference championship game. While Ohio State won, which is great for OSU fans, Justin Fields looked like garbage. And I don't want to judge a guy off one game, but there have been a couple of big-time games for Justin Fields where, quite frankly, it was lackluster. Jet fans are not like, oh, woohoo, Justin Fields, this is going to be great. I think a lot of us are like, oh boy, Justin Fields. And sure, this is why you scout the player and not the college. But how do you not go, Dwayne Haskins hasn't worked out so well? And again, I'm not trying to give this generic take on Justin Fields. I've not seen enough tape on Justin Fields. I've seen every game of Trevor Lawrence's career, so I know him like the back of my hand. Justin Fields less so. We're going to have to bring on experts to learn more about Justin Fields because I guess that's what we should start looking up now because the Jets have the number 2 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Number 2, not number 1. They've had number 1 all year. And this is going to be something that bothers me. And again, jump in or jump out. On the broadcast of the game, the team that was there said, hey, you know what? It's not so unusual for a team to get their first win this late in a year. They mentioned the Indianapolis Colts did it. The Miami Dolphins did it. A couple of teams over the last decade did it. But the thing that bothers me to my core is all of those teams they mentioned still got the number 1 pick. The Cleveland Browns got their first win late in the season. Guess what? They got Baker Mayfield with the number 1 pick. The Miami Dolphins did it over a decade ago. They still got Jake Long with the number 1 pick. Okay? The Indianapolis Colts did it. They won 2 of their last 3, and they still ended up with Andrew Luck. In the 1 year that the Jets could possibly have the number 1 pick and just win 1 game, there's been look at draft history for a second. There have been teams that have won 2 or 3 games and have gotten the number 1 pick. But the Jets, they win 1 stinking game and they may not get the number 1 pick? What kind of blasphemy is this? What kind of blasphemy is this? This is bullshit. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. Look at NFL history. There's all these teams that have won 2 or 3 games and still got the number 1 pick. All those teams I mentioned in the last decade that have won a game late in the season, week 14 and on, the Dolphins, the Browns, the Colts, all those sucker teams ended up with the number 1 pick. But the Jets are the one who may get screwed here and not get Trevor Lawrence? Are you kidding me? Wow. It's hard to bask in a win and feel quote-unquote good about it when this is the thing for me, why I can't feel good about it. And maybe there'll be some fans jumping in here on the live chat saying, Paul, celebrate the win. Stop being a fake fan. Here, let me tell you something. And why this season has changed my perception of tanking and rooting for losses and things of that nature. Was it good to see some of the good things happen in the game, like Quinnen Williams exploding, Bryce Hall and the athletic interception? That looked cool? Sure, why not? Why didn't it? Of course it was cool. Young players doing well. You want to know why I'm not a big fan of getting wins meaningless at the end of the year? I don't want Adam Gase to sleep well at night. I don't want him to say, you know what? Yeah, fam, I got you that win. I don't want them popping bubbly in the locker room going, we got a win! Yippity-doo-dah if you get a win, Adam Gase. I don't care about Adam Gase. I want Adam Gase to rot in hell. I wanted him to have that 0-16 stand on his resume for the rest of his life. I wanted every future NFL team that even thought about hiring Adam Gase after he inevitably gets fired at the end of this year. I wanted all of them to go, 0-16. Ooh, what happened there, Adam? I wanted him to eat that for the rest of his life. Now he's going to have a smile on his face. As he's doing the post-game presser right now, as we're doing this live show, he's going to be a little cocky like, yeah, I got that win. He's going to be doing all that nonsense. And that's what I hate as a fan, that he gets to enjoy this with one modicum of a smile or anything. That he gets to enjoy this at all sickens me. But I will enjoy it when inevitably he's fired. Long story short, there's still a chance at Trevor Lawrence, but it looks like it's Justin Fields' time. But to me, I would trade the pick. And I'll go in more detail right now. If I a gun to my head, I'm trading the pick to someone who wants Justin Fields, okay? And all I'm going to do is, again, I'm trading the pick, and I'm getting a haul, and I'm saying, hey, Sam Darnold, let's try this out again. Because this is the thing. The Jets have to make a decision on his 5th-year option coming up in May. So his 4th year, which would be 2021, you ride it, see what happens. If he's great, you got your franchise quarterback. If he's not, then you could dive back into the quarterback market next year. That's my decision right now. Now, again, I can change my opinion based on any Justin Fields tape or people I talk to try to learn a little bit more about it, but that's my take right now. I'm not on the Justin Fields bandwagon at this point. Let's dive into some of these comments. We've got great comments. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. We do live videos 2 times every week. We'll be doing more off-season videos, mailbags, Q&A, and more coming up in the future, so appreciate all the support. Let's dive in. Again, if you have a question or comment, drop it down here in the live chat. All right, Jay Viz, it's the greatest thing to ever happen. Seahawks back on top, baby. Great for you, Jay Viz. And we have random fans in here: Seahawks, Washington football team, Jets, and others. But this is the thing: if a win was going to happen, the Rams one means little to me. I'm going to be honest, and I'll tell you why for a lot of reasons. So sure, we did a lot of great stuff with Joe Branham, the Rams guy, who we did the previews with, but beating the Rams means what for the Jets? Beating the Patriots means something on a typical year. Beating the Seahawks and making their first-round pick you got worse would have helped the Jets. This one doesn't help the Jets at all, in no fashion. It's an NFC win against a team you play once every 4 years. It means nothing. Good for the players. Good for the players that don't have to have the 0-16 like Marcus May and some of these other cats, these cool cats and kittens. But for me, it's the Rams. I don't give a crap about the Rams. Come on, man. Good for you, Jay Viz. The Seahawks, the Rams with a win today could have clinched a playoff spot. You blew that, Rams. You blew that, LA. Okay? And if you would have won this week and then won next week against Seattle, you could have won the division, Rams. Guess that wasn't so important to you. Okay? Thanks for that Christmas gift of the first one of the year. Rams, you suck. You suck, Rams. Let's keep going here. Extend Gase. Shut up, JS. I'm telling you. I'm not enjoying this, you know. And guys, it's fun having fun in here and jumping in and all that. But I just got to tell you, it's not fun right now because this win does absolutely nothing. And anyone who's saying extend Gase, I swear to God, if the Jets retain Gase, you're going to see the most lit on fire video in history. And I hope I don't have to make it because I didn't want Adam Gase in the first place. If they somehow bring this scumbag back, I'm going to lose my shit. But they're not going to do that, so it's fine. Let's go to Gabriel. Jets can't do anything right. They can't even lose when they need to. I know, Gabriel. This is brutal. This is tough because they beat, again, a team that it doesn't mean diddly shit. And now the Jets' number 1 pick is very much in the air. They have the number 2 pick. And again, for me, would you draft Penny Sewell, an Oregon offensive tackle? Sure, you'd have 2 great tackles. Yeah, I guess. That's not a quarterback, right? That's not a generational anything. It's fine, but it's not great. You don't want to use a number 2 pick on a right tackle. That doesn't even make any sense. But we'll dive into that more in detail if that ends up being the case. But yeah, they can't do anything right. They blow this as well. J-Viz couldn't see the game here on the West Coast. Did the Jets play well? The Rams play down? I think both. I think the Jets played very well, but I think the Rams just sucked, to be honest. I think it was more Rams sucking than Jets winning. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Jets, but that's how I saw it, okay? There's some good plays by the Jets. The opening drive scripted offense worked for Adam Gase, yippity-doo-dah. And for the 8th straight game, they score. Great. But there was a lot of crap. There was terrible game management at the end of the first half. Adam Gase blew that like normal and gave an opportunity for the Rams to get points at 3 points at the end. The game management, when there were 6+ minutes left in the game and the Jets pass, punt, and gave the Rams an opportunity, the Rams had the game-winning touchdown, okay? They score a touchdown. There was a crappy holding call made. All of a sudden, instead of the Rams being up 24-23 with the touchdown extra point, they only get the field goal there 23-20. That ends up being the final score. So, no, I think it was more Rams sucking than Jets playing well, if I'm being completely honest. Vinny, yes, I cannot believe that it happened. 17.5-point spread. Updated draft projection. I'll get the rest of the draft. But right now, the Jets have the number 2 pick. The Jets have the number 2 pick. Jacksonville, who got their first win back in week 1, they have the number 1 pick right now, and it's bullshit. I also want to say this, okay? I want to say this. The people that say, oh, now Trevor Lawrence is in a better spot, screw you. You know nothing about football. Better spot in Jacksonville? What makes Jacksonville a better spot than the Jets? I'm not trying to be biased here. I feel like I can be pretty straight. What makes Jacksonville better than the Jets? Please tell me. Please. What am I missing here? What does Jacksonville provide the Jets? No. The Jets have a franchise tackle. They got a nice piece in Denzel Mims. They have 18 draft picks over the next 2 years. They have $75 million in cap space. What do the Jets not have? Does the name scare you? Does ruining quarterback scare you? Who have they ruined? Who? Okay, Sam Darnold, I'll give you that. They did a horrible job. You can't really blame that on Joe Douglas. A lot of that was already there before he got there, but hey, whatever. But, like, what? How is Jacksonville a better spot? Spoiler alert, it's not. Okay? It's not. Let's keep going here. JS, I'm starting fail for Fields. I'm not a big fan of that right now. I'll have to dive in more detail. JViz, they also cost me a semifinals fantasy matchup. Should have had 20 points with the Rams defense. Got -6. Oof. I will say, selfishly for fantasy, I did move on to the championship game next week. Thank you, Robert Woods. But okay. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. That's all. You're going to look at a couple of plays in this game, and maybe you're going to go back and say, wow, you never got Trevor Lawrence. And we'll see what happens. There are 2 games left in the year. Again, Cleveland and New England. And the Jaguars, their best chance for a win is this upcoming week against the Bears, who actually are red hot right now. So maybe not. Maybe they won't get that one. And that one, of course, has been surprising. Is Fields that much better than Darnold? I think the question is, first off, I don't just want to throw a random dart at a quarterback just for the sake of drafting a quarterback. Again, I've said this throughout history, no matter if it's the Jets or any other franchise. If you draft a quarterback in the first round, I'm trusting you, being the general manager, I'm trusting your NFL team that you've done the proper homework and your scouts, your people are saying this is the guy. And if that's it, I will respect the decision and we'll see how it plays out. I don't want to just take a quarterback to take a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is a generational prospect. I can't say that in enough different ways. He is a generational prospect. Okay, I've seen every throw of his career at Clemson. He is going to win the Heisman this year. He's already won a national championship. He's got poise. He's got mobility. He's got toughness. He's got leadership. Fields, again, I need to see more tape on, but is Fields that much better than Darnold? I think the question has to be, is Fields a franchise quarterback? If he's not, no. You go, okay, we trade the pick because someone else is going to believe Fields is a franchise quarterback. I know that. It only takes one team. And if you're that team, then again, trade. If you're the Jets, trade out, get a Kings-like ransom. It won't be the same if it was Trevor Lawrence, but you'll still get a very nice package and stay in the top 5, top 7, and you'll be able to draft another key positional need. Because guess what? The Jets have plenty. They have needs at quarter. They have needs at wide receiver. They have need at edge. I mean, they have so many goddamn needs that trading back wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Again, I wanted Trevor Lawrence, but we have to deal with the reality that has been presented to us, and that's a number 2 pick at this current point, and they can only get the number 1 pick if they get some help from Jacksonville. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. Bears and Colts remaining on the Jacksonville schedule. Like I said, they did beat the Colts in week 1, them being the Jacksonville Jaguars. The only way that they can beat the Colts, in my mind, in week 17 is if the Colts have their wild card matchup locked up, seeding-wise, which is possible, and then there literally is nothing to play for. They can bench their starters. The Bears one seems more likely, but again, the Bears have been red smoking hot lately. So I don't know. They just beat the Vikings. So the Bears one looks less certain. Ram Showcase, congrats, bro. Again, I don't feel great about the win. Don't feel great about the W. Any Jet fans out there feel great about it? Comment in the YouTube live chat because I don't. I don't feel good. I don't feel good because the Rams win isn't the Patriots. It's not Seahawks. If it's the Seahawks, you make their first-round pick worse. If it's the Patriots, you beat the Patriots, and that's got to feel good in some weird way, maybe. But the Rams, no, it means nothing. 0. It means absolutely nothing. More comments here. Let's go to Javis. Maybe Sam Darnold plus a bunch of other talent taking the draft plus new coaching will be better than banking on Lawrence. Absolutely not. I'm going to be honest here. Again, I claim to be the most optimistic Jets fan on the planet. And I will give you my optimistic take, but I'm not going to give you a ridiculous take. Trevor Lawrence, number 1, is better than anything the Jets had in their plans. It's better than bringing back Darnold. It's better back than trading anything. Trevor Lawrence is that great of a prospect. So, no, there's no way. The only thing I will say is I think keeping Darnold and trading the pick and all that for number 2 makes sense if you're at number 2, not if you're at number 1. Number 1, it's Trevor Lawrence, and there's no debate. Number 2, that's where things get interesting, and like I said, we'll do a longer video on that with more depth, detail, stats, and things later this week. Keep an eye out for that. All right, JS, Justin Fields, more mobile version of Dwayne Haskins. Me being a Washington football fan, I know Haskins isn't any good. I know he started today. Not great. Not great at all. And like I said, I have to dive more on Fields. I do feel bad for the suffering. The suffering of, like, the Jets have been god-awful. Haven't been to the playoffs since 2010. And then right when the piece of meat is hanging in front of us in the treadmill, that piece of meat has been Trevor Lawrence. And we're just running on the treadmill. Okay, 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. All right, this sucks. 0-4, 0-5. But Trevor Lawrence, 0-7, 0-8, 0-9. And then a couple of close calls, like the Raiders one. Oh, my God, it's still there, the Trevor Lawrence piece of meat. Now, the Trevor Lawrence piece of meat is still hanging there, but it's a little bit further. It's out of grasp. We're reaching for it, but we're just missing it. And we may end up with the number 2 pick, which we have right now. Let's go to Estrella. Pray Jacksonville beats those Bears. That's all we can hope for right now because the Jets can't get it by themselves. The strength of schedule cannot flip that drastically from the Jets to the Jaguars. They need help. They need help to get it. They need help. Jaguars beat the Bears back on top. That's it. That's it. Trevor Lawrence, yes, mighty mythological creature crusade. Great name, by the way. Yes, Trevor Lawrence gone. He's gone. He is adios. So right now we have to deal with the reality of the number 2 pick. We'll do some videos on that this week. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. We've got some new stuff coming, and I'll try to give you some optimism. I'll try to give you some positivity on what a Jets offseason could look like from that perspective. But we'll dive in. JViz, yeah, I don't agree the Jags would be a better place. Didn't they have like 80% of the league's player grievances? That's also true that they shared. And again, you look at the team, sure, they got some weapons like DJ Chark and, Marquise Lee and James Robinson in the backfield. That's cool, I guess. But again, New York, the marketing, the city, the team, the franchise left tackle. Mekhi Becton is a franchise left tackle, okay? You've got some pieces there. So I don't know what all this nonsense is about Jacksonville being a better spot. Jets are going to beat New England. I don't know if I'm so big on that. I really don't think so. I don't think the Jets will. Now, New England, in a couple of things. That's what I wanted to get to on a positive thing. So here's the thing. There are some positive things we'll get into here in just a second. I was hoping that the Jets would lose, and then we were like, hey, guys, look at some of these factors. Like, for instance, today, the Patriots were eliminated from playoff contention. Jet fans and fans of all the other teams that are in here. The New England Patriots will not be in the playoffs this year. The New England Patriots will not be in the playoffs this year. And that's the first time we could say that in 11 years. The Jets, speaking of 11 years, haven't been in the playoffs in 11 years. So you're telling me that the Patriots aren't going to be in the playoffs. That snaps their drought. They won't be there, which should be great. It should be a moment of celebration, man. It should be a moment of celebration. Okay, and let me give one shout out to the Buffalo Bills. I know this is a Jet show. The Buffalo Bills won the AFC East over the weekend. Some Saturday football. They won the division for the first time in 25 years. I'm glad if anyone won the division that wasn't named the New England Patriots. So, Patriots aren't in the playoffs this year. That is a lock. They already lost today. The best they can do is finish with a 500 record. So there's that. And the Bills won the division, which should be a moment and a source of celebration for all of us because finally the Patriots aren't doing it. But some of what we would love to discuss and talk about has been stolen from us by this Rams win. A lot of it. From the Rich Samini tweet, let's go to Sand Reckoner. 17 is the largest upset win for them in the Super Bowl era. The only larger upset was Super Bowl III versus Baltimore. Wow. That is a hell of a stat. I also had the stat on the other side. If the Rams would have been able to complete the comeback, it would have been their biggest comeback win in 15 years. Not nearly as impressive as that stat from Rich Samini. And again, I'm sure Adam Gase is going to have some lovely things. Maybe the Jet social media account will leak some of this, I'm sure, to give some positivity among the fan base of the emotional speech perhaps he gives in the post-game locker room, which, again, we've been live on here since the game ended. So I haven't seen any of that stuff yet. But, maybe they'll spin some of that. To me, it's hard to spin a lot of that. Let's go to Steve K. Hey, man, how are you been? Oh, Steve. Oh, yes, sorry. Whoop. The names are just getting me. But, Steve, I've been phenomenal. Can't believe they just won. I can't either. That's the thing. I am not programmed to root for losses. So this season has been tough in a lot of different ways because I want to root for wins as any fan would for their team. So I'm not sure how to feel about it either, but it's been bad. The more I'm sitting on this, again, maybe a sleep night will give us more. Guapo, Boy Greene, hey, what's up, man? Thanks for the support. Steve K, yep, watch the last game of the season. Belichick's going to throw the game on purpose. I don't think he would, personally, Steve, quite frankly, because now, I guess he would have really loved to give the Jets 0-16, so I think that would have been different. So I guess we'll see. Because now the Patriots can't get in the playoffs. So they don't have that motivation. But I don't know if he's going to want to lose to the Jets. That's a road game, too. Rams house. Yeah, it hurts. I'm sure it does, Rams fans. You should have sacked up. We were all on the same page before the game. Rams, if you win, you clinch a playoff spot. So you had plenty of motivation there. And then if you beat us and beat Seattle next week, you win the division. You lose to the goddamn Jets. So screw you, Rams house. Screw you, Rams fans. Screw you, Rams. You had every opportunity. Jet fans wanted to lose. Rams people wanted to win. We should have said, you know what? Handshake agreement. Let's both do what we need to do here. And you guys blew it. Okay, that terrible offense, man. Sean McVay's supposed to be this big, sexy thing, and you guys blew it. Yeah, Seattle may win the division now, Rams house, and that's your fault. Your fault, Rams' fault, Sean McVay's fault, Jared Goff, good Lord's fault. It's all your guys' fault. You blew it. Okay, you blew it. Back to you, J-Viz. The frightening truth is that by actually winning the game and what it did to their pick, it means there has not been any purposeful tanking for the first 13 losses. They're just that bad. That's true. The only way that flips, of course, if Jacksonville wins and then there's a purpose to all the losing. Because, again, that's how I've rationalized it myself. I hate losing. I'm a super competitor. I'm a former football player. I love winning. I'll tell you, there was an Oswego, that's where I played my high school football. There's an Oswego high school game that we lost in this controversial fashion at the end of the game. I was goddamn crying. I was in the fetal position in the locker room from that loss. And then one of the captains on the team saw me sulking in the corner like a little baby, and he said, "That's what I'm talking about." Because at the time, when I first joined the varsity, I was a backup. And he pointed to me and said, "You look at that guy. Okay, he didn't even play in this goddamn game, and he's over there, whining like a little baby. And look at him. This is what we need for this team." And, so again, I am invested 1,000% more than I could possibly even describe. So to go on the other side of it and losing games, the way I've rationalized it for me is, again, there's a purpose. There's a piece of meat at the end of this treadmill. It's Trevor Lawrence. It's Trevor Lawrence. It's Trevor Lawrence. That was the motivation for me to say, you know what? Again, it's okay. We will figure this out. We will figure this out. And then now they've won a game. So, oh boy, this is tough. And again, the biggest thing for me, besides the obvious of losing Trevor Lawrence and the temporary, maybe the permanent, we'll see what Jacksonville does the rest of the year, is just that Adam Gase gets any pleasure out of winning this football game. And it just pisses me off because, I think no matter what happens, even if they won out, they're not going to, but even if they won these final two games, I still think that the Jets are going to fire Adam Gase. There's nothing he could do in my mind to save his job. But I didn't want him to have the satisfaction of even a glimmer of hope, quite frankly, because I wanted him to get his ass beat. I wanted him to lose, and I wanted him to savor the flavor. I wanted his miserable ass at that press conference going, we blew another one, and it would have been glorious. But now we don't get that. So here we go. Let's dive into some more stuff here. Like I said, Quinnen Williams, super impressive in this game. He looked phenomenal. And it's funny in a game that he was kind of paired, quote-unquote, against with Aaron Donald, how good he looked. So that was terrific. 7 sacks of the year. The short area quickness. Also on the broadcast, they said he was playing at 290 pounds, which is the lightest he's been in a while. That's, I believe, 15 pounds lighter than he was back last year. A couple of moments they had a block punt, them being the Jets. Sam Darnold actually looked fantastic. So if we're going to pull a positive here, Sam Darnold's trade value, whoop. But here's where I pause that for a second because, again, as great as that is on the surface, if somehow they end up back with the number 1 pick, that's good news. But if they stay with the number 2 at this point, I think staying with Sam Darnold is the best option, and I will explain that in further detail this week on a YouTube video. But right now, Sam Darnold's trade value has gone up, certainly after this game. He looked fantastic, had that great throw, and I'm going to go back to the first half. Sam Darnold, the improvisational skills, this is why he was a pro player comparison to Tony Romo. The ability to keep the play alive and move around and jump over to the right and get that beautiful play. Sam Darnold to Braxton Berrios. Berrios had that horrible drop. Darnold, this is the part that I think Jet fans should rationalize with because I think Jet fans are split, and I hope I will gather them together this week. A lot of people are saying Sam Darnold will not be the starting quarterback for the Jets next year, so just move on. I don't believe that at all. And I think it is naive to have that mentality for the New York Jets. Sam Darnold is a stupid, talented quarterback, but I think he's been jeopardized by terrible Adam Gase and terrible offensive line around him for most of his career so far, and terrible weapons. But let's make no mistake about it. Sam Darnold's improvisational skills and his ability to make things happen is terrific. Now, he's in the midst this year of his worst year of his entire career. He's been terrible this year. Now, part of that's on him. Part of it's on the team. But Sam Darnold, you see those glimpses where Sam Darnold, again, he moved away from Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is the best player in football. And a couple of times Sam Darnold gave him that little whoop-whoop, little shake and bake, served. A dish best served cold, give him a little shake and bake, made plays happen, threw the ball away when he needed to. But again, that beautiful Braxton Berrios escape where he just beautiful touch. And the perfect throw by a quarterback is when only your receiver can catch it and the opponent has no possibility at an interception. And wow, what a throw. It was dropped by Braxton Berrios. But again, I love Darnold. Long Valley, I agree. Darnold, chef's kiss, terrific. Darnold, absolutely terrific and had a really good game. Some great throws. Bryce Hall, I do want to give a shout out to Bryce Hall. He's a corner I loved in the draft last year. He's getting his opportunity to start mainly because of injuries, but making the most of his opportunity. That great one-handed interception. He had that fumble recovery that was called back. Bryce Hall could be a starter for the Jets starting next year on the outside, although the Jets are going to give a lot of love to that, whether in free agency and the draft as well. Nonetheless, a building block for the future. I thought he looked absolutely terrific. Nathan Shepard, arrow pointing up. Nathan Shepard looked really phenomenal in this game. A lot of push. A lot of those guys, John Franklin Myers, Nathan Shepard, Quinnen Williams, all those guys of the defensive line certainly deserve a lot of love. I do want to get just to this point in general on Gase and why I never want him back and why, quite frankly, I'd be okay if he never coaches another down of football for the New York Jets or in the NFL in general. The thing that bothers me by any coach is a lack of conviction. To me, the thing that really makes a coach is conviction. Now, what do I mean? Conviction with whatever you choose to do. When you enter a situation, you should have a mentality of what you want to do. At the end of the half, let's go to this. Adam Gase seems content with running out the clock and being conservative. Fine move. The Rams didn't call a timeout on that first down play, so the Rams were content with the Jets running the clock out. And then the Jets run a pass play. And then you're like, well, so are you being conservative or are you being aggressive? What are you trying to do? Then, when that happens, the Rams go, okay, we'll call a timeout. And then this lack of conviction bothers me because you should either go for it or don't. And when they had that wishy-washy, that gave the Rams an opportunity to get a field goal. Again, the Jets win the game at the end, so everyone won't be talking about this. But the fact of the matter for me is that conviction of doing what you believe. Have a game plan, like the timeout where the Jets had that third down. Again, you should know what you're doing. What are you guys waiting around for? You should know what you're doing. On those kind of plays, you should have a play for third down, and you already know whether you're going for it and punching on fourth down. The Jets didn't. They call a timeout. Sean McVay also calls a timeout shortly after that. To me, that's one of the big things that bothers me about Adam Gase, besides all the other crap that bothers me. Chris Herndon sighting, it was like seeing Sasquatch for the first time in months. Where has Chris Herndon been? A couple of catches sprinkled in there again. How he appears and disappears from the game plan makes no sense, especially from a target perspective. That, to me, was strange, to say the least. And overall, I got to be honest, this game was confounding. I also thought we were going to talk about this in a different way if the Rams would have won the game. That garbage 15-yard personal foul penalty on Trayvon Wesco, at worst, that should have been offsetting penalties on both Rams and Jets, if anything, or more so on Rams than Jets. But nonetheless, that was fascinating. And then one other thing, like I said, that he butchered, Jets up 23-20 with 6+ minutes to go, and the Jets go pass, punt when they should have been eating clock to try to get away from the game. But either way, guys, the Jets have won a football game. The New York Jets have won a football game, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. It's mostly bad, mostly negative. Again, if you're just joining us, feel free to hit subscribe on the channel. I appreciate all the support. We do live videos, and we'll have a couple of videos this week talking more about this loss and the number 2 pick and what does it mean? What should the Jets do? So make sure you hit subscribe. Also hit the like on the video. I always appreciate the support. And also, I think you should feel bad about this. It's hard to say this, maybe I'll wear my no. Let me clarify this. I think every fan should wear their Jets gear with pride, win or loss. So I guess on Victory Monday, I guess I'll wear my Jets gear as I normally would any Monday. But it's not going to feel like a normal Victory Monday, I'll tell you that. We've got a lot to sleep on. We've got a lot to talk about here this upcoming week with the draft and reaction to this game. But, guys, the Jets won a football game, and I did not think we were going to have any of those as we got into the middle of this year. At the beginning of the year, I thought, you know what? The Jets are going to find a way to win a football game or two. They'll be in the hunt, on that screen when we're in playoff time, and it says in the hunt, and those logos are there. I was hoping the Jets would be in there, but obviously at 0-13 prior to this game, now 1-13, they were never on that screen. And now we never know whether they'll be in contention or in the hunt for Trevor Lawrence. For that, they'll need some help from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining us here live on this video, one of our longer post-game shows we've had. Oh boy, the Jets jet, and here we are. All right, folks. We'll see you later in the week. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the like button. We appreciate it. We'll check you out next week. Enjoy.